Deep in the swamps of southern Arkansas, there are places where the forest grows so thick that sunlight barely reaches the ground. Places where the water moves slow and black, and strange sounds echo through the trees after dark. For decades, residents of a quiet rural town have claimed something is out there, something large, something covered in hair, something that walks like a man but definitely isn't one. They call it the Fouke monster. Tonight, we're diving into one of America's most chilling cryptid legends, the creature that turned a sleepy Arkansas town into the center of a monster mystery. The story begins in the tiny town of Fouke. Located near the border of Texas and Louisiana, Fouke is surrounded by dense forests, bayous, and swamps. It's the kind of place where neighbors know each other, and where the woods stretch for miles in every direction. Just outside town flows a murky stream, cutting through thick swampland, and according to locals, that's where the monster lives. Locals described it as standing between 7 and 8 feet tall, weighing hundreds of pounds and walking upright like a man, but covered in long, dark hair. Sound familiar? To many, the Fouke monster is Arkansas's version of Bigfoot. But unlike its Pacific Northwest cousin, this creature is tied to one of the eeriest places in the South, Boggy Creek. The story really took off in May of 1971 when the Ford family reported a terrifying encounter at their rural home. According to Elizabeth Ford, the family was attacked late one night. A massive creature tried to force its way inside the house, reaching through a screen window. Terrified, the Fords opened fire with rifles. The monster fled, but when deputies arrived, they found large, strange footprints around the home. The local sheriff's report described three-toed tracks, each about 14 inches long, and with that, the Fouke monster legend exploded into the national spotlight. Word spread fast. Soon, hunters from across the region descended on Fouke. Armed with rifles and flashlights, they combed the woods looking for the mysterious creature. Some believed it was a dangerous predator. Others thought it might be a missing link between humans and apes. But no matter how many people searched, the Fouke monster always stayed just out of sight. In 1972, the legend reached an entirely new level. A low-budget horror documentary called The Legend of Boggy Creek was released. The film told the story of the Fouke monster, using reenactments and interviews with locals. Despite being made on a tiny budget, it became a massive hit. Audiences across the country were fascinated by the mysterious swamp creature. Suddenly, the Fouke monster wasn't just local folklore, it was a national phenomenon. Over the decades, hundreds of people have claimed to see the Fouke monster. Some describe glowing red eyes peering through the brush. Others recall the sound of heavy sloshing footsteps in the swamp at night. One farmer reported losing livestock to an unknown predator. Another swore the creature's foul odor, like rotting flesh, lingered long after it disappeared. The reports have continued into modern times, with sightings as recent as the 2000s. Each one adds another piece to the mystery. Of course, not everyone believes in the Fouke monster. Skeptics argue that the creature is nothing more than a black bear wandering through the swamp. Bears can walk short distances on two legs, and under the cover of night, a startled witness might mistake it for something more sinister. Others claim it's a hoax, locals and pranksters keeping the legend alive for tourism and fun. After all, Fouke now has a monster mart, souvenir shops, and an annual festival celebrating its hairy hometown hero. Whether real or not, the Fouke monster has become an undeniable part of Arkansas folklore. It's inspired films, books, documentaries, and even music. And every year, curious monster hunters, Bigfoot enthusiasts, and thrill seekers make the pilgrimage to Boggy Creek, hoping to catch a glimpse of the beast that refuses to fade away. So what do you think? Is the Fouke monster a cousin of Bigfoot, still roaming the swamps of Arkansas? A case of mistaken identity? Or simply a legend that grew too big to die? What's certain is that something in the shadows of Boggy Creek left a mark, not just on the town of Fouke, but on the imagination of everyone who dares to believe. The next time you find yourself in a dark Arkansas swamp, listen carefully. You might just hear the footsteps of the Fouke monster. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Fouke monster, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling legends and true tales of the unexplained.